In other cricket news, Australian cricket legend Bob Simpson passed away this week.
Yeah.
Sad.
Rest
Very
in
sad.
pieces.
Yep, very sad.
And just we're going to do a separate episode just on Bob shortly, but just looking through his career stats, just on that alone, apart from his coaching career, it's like far out. Second youngest player to ever play for New South Wales.
Yeah, he
At
was 16.
2 weeks before he turned 17. Wow.
Now, you got to think about that. Imagine being prior to your 17th birthday, you go out onto the field with people that you've just admired, like Richie Beno and those guys were playing in those days, Alan Davidson, these people that you looked up at, and you're playing against men who are seasoned, hard and first-class cricketers, and a lot of them would have played Test cricket. And you're 16, walking out onto the SCG. But I've got to tell you, Bob would have backed himself. That's the way he was. He would have backed himself. His record as a junior was incredible. And look, our history, my history, now is Randwick, Petersham, but I never played for Randwick. Bobby played for Marrickville and Petersham Marrickville, and they're two of the foundation clubs of the club that I'm now president. So he features quite strongly in our club history, Bob. But of course, I spent years with him. I met him in the early 80s and did coaching with him, and then got back into the Australian cricket team, and he was the coach.
And he was running things during a tumultuous time, wasn't it? During the World Series cricket start and that whole...
They brought him back as a 42-year-old to captain the Australian side. He came out of retirement against India. He got 2 centuries in that series. Then he took the side to the West Indies, and they just really drilled it up in big time because they knew that our World Series team was our best team, and this was sort of and with all due respect to the guys that played for the West Indies, it was like a second team.
Australia A.
Yeah, basically. But then they made him coach of the Australian team in 86, and that's when I had a lot to do with Bobby. And, mate, he was a tough...
In the West Indies, you've talked about previously when you two were there and Bob was the coach and the stuff, the drills and all that kind of stuff.
And you played tricks on him. And
we tried to.
So fitness stuff you're talking about, like drills or...
Yeah, his fielding,
skills.
His fielding sessions and skill sessions were not only technique driven, but they were fitness driven. So he would hit you 20 catches in a row and you'd have to run. So you'd be exhausted, puffing, and he'd say 2 more. So he wanted you to catch under fatigue and under stress so that in the game you were able to do that. And he always used to say things like fielding can win you a test match. So he turned Australia into the best fielding side in the world, the best catchers we were in the world. Other side had 1 or 2 great catchers, all of our catchers, all of our ground fielders, everybody could throw. He definitely turned me into a much, much better fielder, a better bowler, and he gave me the opportunity as a number 11. He would do this at training. He'd give all the batsmen a brand new cricket ball, the batsmen, and he'd say to me, Merv and Craig McDermott, get the pads on, you're opening today. So we'd have to go in and face the opening batsmen who ran in and all thought they could fucking bowl, and they'd be bouncing the shit out of you. It wasn't quick. This was Mark Taylor and Boone, but they still had a new ball and they still knew how to bowl. Yeah. So he would let us go in and face the new ball because he knew if the second new ball was taken in an innings, we'd have to be in there with Steve Waugh facing the second new ball. Yeah. So he gave you a chance, and if you got on the same page as him, yes, a lot of people battled with that because of the sergeant major sort of school principal,
master,
schoolboy sort of thing. It was a bit like that. And some players just couldn't do that. But he took over in a time when Australia had not had a lot of discipline around the team, and there was a lot of other things going on besides actually playing the cricket. And then Alan took the captaincy over in 85, and very reluctant captain, Alan. And they sent Bobby Simpson. He was coaching us at New South Wales over to New Zealand to monitor a tour over there. And when he got back, apparently he handed this dossier to cricketers, or Australian Cricket Association at the time, and they just went, oh. So a year later they said, would you like to coach the side? And it was then that certain players who didn't fit that mould just got pushed to the side. Party boys, guys that didn't train really hard, whatever. And this was the emergence of Swampy Marsh, David Boone, Dean Jones, Craig McDermott.
Who would toe the line?
Ian Healy, Stephen Mark Waugh, Merv, myself.
So before was that Chappell's era? Is that what
there wasn't really a coach. No, Kim
undisciplined-
Hughes. Kim Hughes'
that's
era.
right. Kim Hughes.
And Chappell in there, but before that it was Greg Chappell. But Kim retired. You remember he tearfully retired after a game. And then Alan became captain immediately.
Great
And
player.
Alan didn't really want to do it. I mean, he was a really reluctant captain. And what happened was Simo came in to coach the side, and Alan said, well, can you do this and this and this as well? So Bob took on a lot of other work, let alone only being the coach, and that gave him a lot of power and a lot of kudos. But I mean, if I look at the time that he coached the side for 10 years, and probably the biggest thing that happened early after he took it over a year later, we won the World Cup in India in 1987, and we weren't supposed to do that.
That's right. It was a big shock.
And that
wasn't it?
was a shock.
I remember that.
Now, just prior to that, I'd blocked out Sir Richard Hadley at the MCG. That was a huge day for me, and I'm still living on that. But the significance of that was Alan Border's first series win as a captain. If we had have got bowled out or lost that test, it would have been 1-1, and the Kiwis would have kept the Trans-Tasman Cup. So when Craig McDermott and I walked into the dressing room that afternoon after we'd drawn that game, the look on Alan's face, he'd finally won his first series as a captain, and then he gained momentum and confidence, and he went on from there to become one of our greatest. But Bobby Simpson was right next to him and played a big, big part. Bobby kept tabs on everybody. He wanted to know what everybody was doing. Were you towing the line? If you came home late.
I couldn't do it.
If you came home
in
late.
their private lives. Yeah.
No. Cricket time. So if we're away with the team, and he found out that you got in at 1 o'clock instead of midnight, you got called out for a private fielding session the next day, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
So you had to sneak in and out. So, yes, look, major contributions as a player, as a coach, selector, everything. And